All right, everybody. So today our movie that we're discussing is called Karma. It debuted in 2023. It's an hour and 3 minutes long, and the description states: after she's kicked out of her home for revealing a horrible family secret, Karma has no choice but to turn to the streets in order to survive. This movie stars Emery Law, McKeva Al Britton, Nunu Thurman, Daewon Ford, along with a long list of characters, and it's directed by Anthony Williams. So when our movie begins, we start off with a nice scene around a breakfast table. We're joined by our main character, Karma, whose real name is Corinda, her sister Brandy, and their mom, who's a very strict and religious figure that owns a boutique. Then we're shortly joined by their father, who owns a restaurant and does some shady stuff on the side. And then we're joined by his best friend, that's known as the girl's uncle. So shortly after breakfast, we see everybody go their separate ways and head off to work. We see dad and the uncle at the restaurant, where the uncle is asking the dad to put him on to whatever he's got going on the side so he can make some extra money. He noticed that the dad has way more money than the restaurant is making, and he wants in. Similarly, we see Corinda and Brandy's asking Corinda to put her on to whatever she's doing to make money. And Corinda is kind of skeptical, but she lets her sister know she's going to put her on to the game, and she takes her to her place where she works. She shows Brandy that she's a stripper, and her stage name is Karma. And she shows her the rope of the stripper industry, and she puts her on to make some money. So everything goes great with Brandy and Karma on their first night. They both return home with a pocket full of cash. Brandy goes to her room, she says goodnight to Karma. As Karma goes into the kitchen, she runs into her father. And it seems that he's upset about her being out late night, but it then turns different as he proceeds to rape her in the kitchen with her mom and sister both in the house. So yeah, the thought of it is very just horrible to think of a father raping his daughter, but that's what happened here. And this is her, at this point, this is what we know as her biological father. So Karma's distraught by this the next day, and she goes to her mom and tells her she needs to talk to her. So while they're working in boutique, Karma comes out and tells her mom that her dad has been raping her for 6 months. And her mom completely flips out on her. She barks on her, tells her to get the hell out the house, and she doesn't believe her because when Karma was a child in high school, she lied on a boy and said that he raped her when they were having consensual sex. So her mom thinks she has a history of lying about rape, so she doesn't believe her when she says that her dad raped her. And it's a very hard scene. She tells Karma to get out the boutique, and she tells her to get out the house and be out the house by the time she gets home. And Karma just leaves all distraught and messed up. So the mom is a little messed up by this, so she calls the uncle to try to get some information and get some clarity on the situation. And it's through this conversation where we see them talking that it's kind of revealed that they've been having an affair and they've been messing around for quite some time. So the dad has put the uncle on to the game at this point. The uncle is a runner for him, just making drop-offs to certain locations. So then we come to the mom confronting the dad about the situation with Karma. And of course he denies it wholeheartedly. And she tells him that she didn't believe Karma and that's why she kicked her out the house. But during this conversation, the dad gets a text from the uncle saying there's an emergency, something's going wrong. So when the dad meets up with the uncle, he finds out that the uncle got robbed for his stash. And he tells the uncle that you need to go find that stuff or else. So the uncle does some investigating. He goes through the hood, asking questions, and he finally finds out who has his stuff. And he finds out where he's going to be. Of course, at the strip club, where Brandy and Karma work. So him and the dad decide to come up with a plan to go get their stuff back. And it's at this time we see the mom is at home. She finds a letter addressed to Karma. But we don't really see what the letter says. It just says test results and has Karma's name on it. And for some reason through this, the mom can tell that the dad has raped Karma and that she was telling the truth. But it's not made clear that why she knows this, but it will be made clear real soon. So Karma and Brandy are working, doing their thing, stripping. And of course, uncle and dad come in the club and they spot the guy that has this stuff. They come up with a plan to get him, but before they can leave the club, Karma walks up to her dad and offers to give him a lap dance. Well, of course, he flips out when he sees that it's Karma that's walking up to him and tells her to get the hell out of here and go put some clothes on. Karma then runs to the back and she tells Brandy that her dad is here. And he helps Brandy sneak out the back. So now at this point, where dad and uncle find the guy that has this stuff, they run down on him at his home and he returns the stuff to them after the dad beats the crap out of him. The uncle gets scared that the guy's going to die, and the dad tells him that maybe he should step out of the game if he can't handle this. So Dad returns home and he's confronted by the mom, who lets him know that she knows that he's been raping Karma. When he asks what he's talking about, she explains that he found Karma's test results. And Karma's test results show that she has HIV. And she knows that the dad has HIV because the mom herself has HIV and she gave it to him. The dad is shocked and upset. He's like, what the fuck are you talking about? So when the mom explains everything, he then has a confession of his own. He tells the mom that, one, he doesn't have HIV because he gets tested regularly. And two, he knows that the kids aren't his because he's been sterile since he was a kid and he was unable to have children. And the day he was going to tell his wife that he was sterile, she told him he was pregnant. He didn't mind playing happy home, but he knew he was going to be able to take advantage of his daughters when they were of age. He then explains to the mom that since he didn't give Karma HIV, that maybe her real dad gave her HIV. And you're a little relieved that he wasn't raping his daughter, his biological daughter at this point, but he still was a rapist, and he still was raping someone that thought she was his daughter. So you know what kind of psychological trauma that could cause on somebody. That's really sick, and he played a real sick bastard in this movie, unfortunately. He then proceeds to leave and head to the restaurant, and shortly after, Mom runs into Karma in the home. She explains that she found Karma's results, and she knows that Karma has HIV. She explains to Karma that she had HIV. And then she asks Karma how long has she been having sex with her uncle. And Karma explains for over a year she's been having sex with her uncle. So after hearing about all this news, Karma decides she has to find her sister Brandy because she wants to find out if she has HIV and if she's okay. She uses the location feature on the phone to find out that Brandy's at the restaurant with her dad. She goes to the restaurant to meet Brandy, where she finds her dad trying to take advantage of her. She stops the encounter and in turn kills her dad. Somehow, with the help of the mom, Karma and the mom were able to frame the uncle for killing the dad, and everybody lived happily ever after. So overall, I pretty much enjoyed the movie Karma. As my scorecard goes, I give the cinematography an A-. I felt the camera work was pretty good, the shots were crispy, and the editing was done pretty well. As far as the acting goes, I gave it a B+. Everybody did a pretty good job. Nobody was underacting or overacting or was unbelievable in their scenes. Unfortunately, Emery Law, the dad, he was very believable in being a dirtbag, so they all did a good job with their acting. As far as the script goes, I gave the script a score of C, which led me to give the overall score to be a C, because I felt there were some holes in the plot that could have been fleshed out a little bit more. The runtime was only an hour long, and they could have used a little bit more time just to give a little bit more depth to certain things, more storylines and characters. So I had two main issues is why I gave this overall score a C for this movie. The first issue was that the two characters of the daughters, Corinda and Brandy, they looked a little bit too old to be the daughters of this mom. They never established the girls' ages in the movie, but they're obviously old enough to be in a strip club, so they have to be at least over 18. And the mom looks more of an older sister to them than their mother. The second issue is with the many love triangles that's going on in this movie. After watching the movie and doing a little breakdown, I found out that the dad and the uncle not only had sex with the mom, they had sex with Karma, but they both also had sex with a waitress that works in their restaurant. And not only that, but Corinda and Brandy both had sex with a bouncer, the same bouncer, and they had sex with the guy that stole from the dad, whose name was Rio in the movie. And on top of that, 3 of the people in these love triangles, at least 3, have HIV. So it's just a lot going on. Also, Karma had sex with damn near every man in this movie that wasn't an extra. So guys, if you saw the movie Karma or you're going to see the movie, please leave your comments down below. I'd love to hear what you think. And hit the like and subscribe button. Thanks.